Your blind date didn't show up either? The whispered question from the woman in the purple dress didn't just catch Seungmin off guard, it shattered the fortress he'd spent 15 years building, one bloody brick at a time. The restaurant's silence was a 500 per plate kind of quiet. Seungmin sat alone in his tailored black suit, the dragon tattoo curling up his neck like a warning written in ink. His fingers, which had signed death warrants that morning, now traced the rim of an untouched wine glass. This blind date was theater, arranged by his men, canceled by his orders. An alibi, a performance. He needed to be seen living a normal life while his empire moved in shadows. But normalcy tasted like ash in his mouth. He'd built his world on fear and precision, every move calculated, every emotion buried. Yet tonight, the loneliness felt heavier than usual, pressing against his ribs like a living thing. Then he saw her. Across the room, a black woman sat alone, radiant in a deep purple dress that hugged her curves like royalty. Her natural hair framed a face that held both exhaustion and quiet dignity. She checked her phone, once, twice, and he watched her shoulders drop with each passing minute. Disappointment. He knew that posture intimately. She was beautiful, but it wasn't her beauty that arrested him. It was the way she sat, upright, refusing to crumble despite being stood up. There was a warrior's resilience in her stillness, a mother's strength in the way she squared her shoulders. His chest tightened with something unfamiliar. Across the restaurant, Lily smoothed her dress for the 10th time. The fabric was a splurge, 3 months of careful saving. Tonight was supposed to be different, a fresh start, a chance to be more than just Leo's mom. But here she sat, alone again. The familiar ache of disappointment settled in her bones. She'd left her 7-year-old son with a neighbor, bought a new dress, dared to hope. And for what? She felt eyes on her. When she looked up, her breath caught. A man sat across the restaurant, impossibly still, impossibly handsome. His dark eyes were fixed on her with an intensity that made her pulse quicken. There was something dangerous in his gaze, but also something achingly lonely. The dragon tattoo on his neck should have scared her. It didn't. If you've ever felt alone in a crowded room, drop a comment below. What would you do if a stranger saw your loneliness and didn't look away? The waiter approached her table with pitying eyes. "Miss, will your companion be—" She prepared her practiced smile, the one that said, "I'm fine, really." But before she could speak, a shadow fell across her table. She looked up. It was him. Seungmin stood at her table, his presence commanding the space around them. The restaurant seemed to hold its breath. His tailored suit was immaculate, his posture controlled, but his dark eyes, those eyes held something raw and unguarded. "It seems," he said, his voice a low baritone that sent shivers down her spine, "we're in the same unfortunate situation." Lily's heart hammered. Up close, he was devastating. The dragon tattoo curling up his neck, the sharp cut of his jaw, the dangerous elegance in every line of him. But it was his eyes that held her, deep, intelligent, and achingly lonely. A small, tired smile touched her lips. "Your blind date didn't show up either?" she whispered. The question hung between them like a confession. Seungmin felt the words hit him with physical force. Not pity, not flirtation, just understanding. A recognition of shared disappointment from one lonely soul to another. For the first time in 15 years since he'd climbed to the top of Seoul's underworld on a ladder of blood and bodies, someone had seen him. Not the boss, not the weapon. Just a man sitting alone in an expensive restaurant. His carefully constructed mask cracked. "No," he replied softly. She did not. Silence stretched between them, but it wasn't empty. It was filled with everything they weren't saying. Two strangers, two broken people seeing their own loneliness reflected back. May I? He gestured to the empty chair across from her. Every logical part of Lily screamed this was insane. This man radiated danger. The way staff avoided his gaze, the expensive watch on his wrist, the tattoo that marked him as someone from a world she knew nothing about. But she'd spent 3 years building walls to protect herself and Leo. 3 years of being strong, being careful, being alone. And sitting across from her was someone who understood that particular hell. Please, she heard herself say. Seong-min sat with controlled grace. He didn't smile, didn't make small talk. Instead, he simply looked at her, really looked, as if she were a rare painting he was trying to memorize. I'm Lily, she offered, her voice barely above a whisper. Seong-min. His name felt like a secret exchanged in the dim light. The waiter materialized, nervous energy radiating from him. Sir, shall I? Seong-min raised one finger. The waiter vanished instantly. Lily's eyebrows rose. He's terrified of you. Yes. No denial, no explanation. Should I be terrified too? His eyes met hers, and for a moment she saw past the danger to the profound sadness beneath. I hope not. They ordered food neither of them tasted. The conversation was sparse, careful. Two people circling each other's wounds. What do you do? Lily asked, immediately regretting the question. Seong-min's jaw tightened. I run businesses, import, export, various investments. The lie sat between them like broken glass. She knew he was lying. He knew she knew. And you? He deflected. I'm a medical transcriptionist, work from home. She paused, her face softening. My son, Leo, he's 7, he's everything. Son. The word landed in Seong-min's chest like a bullet. He should leave, right now. A man in his position had no business sitting across from a single mother with kind eyes and a soft smile. His world was blood and shadows. Hers was light, the kind of light that got extinguished when it touched his darkness. But he couldn't move. It's hard, Lily continued, vulnerability creeping into her voice. Raising him alone, making sure he has everything he needs. Sometimes I feel like I'm failing him. You're here, Seong-min said suddenly, intensity flooding his words. You're fighting. That's not failure. She looked at him, startled by the fierceness in his tone. Sorry, he muttered, retreating behind his walls. I didn't mean to. No. She reached across the table, her hand hovering near his. Thank you. He stared at her hand, small, unadorned, trembling slightly. If he took it, if he allowed this connection, there would be no going back. His enemies were everywhere. Anyone close to him became a target. He should walk away. Instead, slowly, deliberately, he turned his hand over and let her fingertips brush his palm. The touch was electric. Lily pulled back quickly, embarrassed. I'm sorry, I don't usually... Don't apologize. His voice was rough. Please. They sat in charged silence. The restaurant hummed around them, but they existed in a bubble outside of time. I should go, Lily finally said, though she didn't move. The babysitter... Let me take you home. The words left Seong-min's mouth before he could stop them. It's late, the city isn't safe. I'm the most dangerous thing in this city, he thought bitterly, and I'm the one offering to protect you. Lily hesitated. Every instinct said this was reckless, but something in his eyes, something desperate and honest, made her nod. The drive to her apartment was wrapped in heavy silence. Seong-min's car was a sleek black sedan that probably cost more than Lily made in 2 years. She sat rigid in the passenger seat, hyper-aware of his presence beside her. He drove with the same controlled precision he did everything, each movement deliberate, efficient. But she noticed the way his knuckles whitened on the steering wheel, the tension in his jaw. You don't have to be nervous, she said softly. His eyes flicked to her. I'm not nervous. Liar. A small smile played on her lips. For the first time that night, Seungmin almost smiled back. They pulled up to her apartment building, a modest, clean complex in a working-class neighborhood. The contrast to his world was jarring. He could buy this entire building without thinking twice. Thank you, Lily said, reaching for the door handle. For everything tonight. I'll walk you up. That's not... Please. His voice was quiet but unyielding. Let me do this one decent thing. She couldn't argue with that. The hallway of her building smelled like home cooking and old carpet. Children's laughter echoed from somewhere above. It was warm, lived in, real. Everything Seungmin's penthouse wasn't. They reached her door, 3B. And then Seungmin froze. Taped to the door at child height was a drawing. A crayon explosion of color depicting a superhero with a cape made of rainbow flames. The signature at the bottom, written in careful child's handwriting. Leo, age 7. The world tilted. Seungmin's breath caught. He knew this style. He'd seen it just last week, in a scholarship application file. On his desk. Leo, 7 years old, gifted artist, single mother working multiple jobs to support his talent. This woman, this beautiful, strong, kind woman he'd just met, was her. The mother from the file. The one whose son's artwork had stopped him cold, whose teacher's letter had mentioned extraordinary resilience despite hardship. Seungmin? Lily's voice was concerned. Are you okay? He couldn't speak. Couldn't breathe. He was already in her life, had been for months. An anonymous guardian angel, a ghost in the machine who'd approved Leo's full scholarship to the city's most prestigious youth arts program just 3 days ago. I should go, he managed, his voice strangled. Before she could respond, he turned and walked away. Fast, controlled, desperate. Lily stood at her door, confused and hurt, watching him disappear down the stairs. Inside the apartment, through the thin walls, she could hear Leo's soft snoring. She touched her lips, remembering the electricity of their conversation. What just happened? She whispered to the empty hallway. 1 week later. The letter arrived in a thick cream envelope with an embossed seal. Lily's hands shook as she read it. Dear Ms. Lily Thompson, we are pleased to inform you that your son, Leo Thompson, has been selected for the Kim Foundation Full Scholarship for Gifted Young Artists. This merit-based award covers all tuition, supplies, mentorship, and educational expenses for the next 5 years. Lily's knees buckled. She sat on her worn couch, reading the letter again and again, tears streaming down her face. 5 years, everything covered. Leo's future, secured. Mama? Leo appeared in his Superman pajamas, rubbing sleep from his eyes. Why are you crying? She pulled him into her arms, laughing and sobbing. Baby, you did it. You're going to art school, a real art school. Because I'm a good drawer? His 7-year-old innocence broke her heart. Because you're amazing. Meanwhile, across the city, Seungmin sat in his office, a fortress of steel and glass overlooking Seoul. His second-in-command, Jin, stood at attention. The scholarship was processed, Jin reported. Anonymous, untraceable as requested. Seungmin didn't respond. He was staring at the drawing pinned to his private board, Leo's application artwork, a child's interpretation of hope, a single flower growing through concrete. Sir, Jin ventured carefully, is there a problem? I met her, Seungmin said quietly. The mother. Jin's eyes widened. In 15 years, he'd never seen his boss personally involved with anyone from their charitable foundation. The Kim Foundation was established in 2019, Seungmin continued, his voice hollow. Do you remember why? Jin's face softened. Your daughter, Mina. Seungmin's hand trembled as he touched a silver frame on his desk. A photo of a little girl with pigtails, holding crayons, laughing at the camera. She would have been 8 this year, his voice cracked. Leo's age. Have you ever lost something so precious that helping others became your only way to breathe? Tell us in the comments what keeps you going when your heart is broken. Mina loved drawing, Seungmin whispered. Her mother took her from me, disappeared. Then I received the call. Car accident. Both gone. I never even got to say goodbye. The foundation honors her, Jin said gently. I see Mina in every child we help. Seungmin closed his eyes. But when I saw Leo's drawing, when I saw his mother's strength in that application, Jin, I felt something I thought died with them. What did you feel, sir? Hope. 3 days later, Seungmin did something he'd sworn he wouldn't do. He went to the park where Lily took Leo every Saturday morning. He told himself he was just checking on his investment, making sure the scholarship recipient was legitimate. It was business. It was a lie. He found them by the fountain, Leo sketching furiously in a notebook while Lily sat on a bench, her face tilted toward the sun, finally relaxed. She saw him first. Her expression shifted through surprise, confusion, then something softer. Seungmin? Leo looked up, curious. Seungmin approached slowly like a wild animal afraid of spooking them. I was in the neighborhood. Lily's knowing smile said she didn't believe him. Leo, this is my friend, Mr. Seungmin. You're really tall, Leo observed seriously. And you have a dragon on your neck. That's cool. Seungmin crouched down to Leo's level, a gesture of respect that made Lily's heart skip. It's an honor to meet you, Leo. Your mother speaks very highly of you. She talks about me? Leo grinned at Lily. Constantly, Seungmin said, his eyes never leaving Lily's face. Do you want to see my drawing? Leo held up his sketchbook without waiting for an answer. Seungmin studied it with genuine concentration. The boy had captured the way light danced on water, the movement of fountain spray frozen in crayon and marker. You don't just see the water, Seungmin said quietly. You see the light inside it. That's a gift, Leo. The boy beamed. Over the next 2 hours, something shifted. They walked through the park together, an unlikely trio. Seungmin bought them ice cream from a street vendor, the first time Lily had seen him smile genuinely. Leo chattered about colors and superheroes. Lily watched this dangerous, powerful man listen to her son with complete attention. Why are you really here? She asked when Leo ran ahead to the swings. Seungmin was quiet for a long moment. Because I haven't been able to stop thinking about you since that restaurant. Her breath caught. I'm not a good man, Lily. His voice was raw. My life is complicated, dangerous. You should tell me to leave. And if I don't want you to leave? He looked at her then, really looked, and she saw the loneliness crack open. Then I'm in trouble, he whispered. She took his hand. Neither of them let go. 2 months later, they'd fallen into a careful rhythm. Weekend park visits, quiet dinners after Leo went to bed, phone calls that stretched into dawn. Seungmin never told her about his world, and she never asked, a fragile agreement between them. Until the night everything shattered. Lily was walking home from the grocery store, Leo's hand in hers, when she noticed the black car following them. Her mother's instinct flared, Maite, Leo, stay close. The car pulled alongside them. The window rolled down. A man with cold eyes and a scar across his cheek leaned out. Seungmin's woman, he said in Korean. Then, switching to English, you should be more careful about the company you keep. Terror flooded Lily's veins. Leo, run, now. But the man laughed. We're not here to hurt you, just deliver a message. He tossed a photo onto the sidewalk. Tell your boyfriend his enemies know exactly where to find his weakness. The car sped away. Lily grabbed the photo with shaking hands. It was her and Leo at the park, with Seung-min. Someone had been watching them, targeting them. That night, after putting a traumatized Leo to bed, she called Seung-min. What the hell was that? Her voice was ice. Who are you, really? Silence on the other end. Seung-min, answer me. I'm sorry. His voice was broken. I never should have. Men followed us, threatened my son. My son. Tears streamed down her face. You brought your world into ours. I'll fix this. I'll protect you. By what? Killing them? Having them killed? The truth she'd been avoiding crashed down. You're not just rich. You're one of them. The gangs. The Mafia. His silence was confirmation. I trusted you, she whispered. I let you into Leo's life. Lily, please, stay away from us. Her voice shattered. Whatever this was, it's over. Don't call. Don't come by. Just disappear back into whatever darkness you came from. She hung up. Across the city, Seung-min stood in his empty penthouse, the phone still pressed to his ear, listening to dead air. He'd known this would happen. Known he would destroy the only good thing he'd touched in years. The fortress walls closed back around him. This time, he welcomed them. 3 days later. Lily couldn't sleep, couldn't eat. She'd done the right thing, protected Leo. But it felt like she'd ripped her own heart out. She missed Seung-min, missed his quiet presence, his rare smiles, the way Leo lit up around him. Late at night, she'd stare at her phone, finger hovering over his contact. Then she'd remember the terror in Leo's eyes and put the phone down. Meanwhile, Seung-min was at war. The Yakuza faction that threatened them, he said to Jin, his voice dead calm. Eliminate them. Jin hesitated. Sir, that will start. I don't care what it starts. Seung-min's eyes were black fire. They threatened a child. They used her to get to me. Make them understand that was their last mistake. And after, when they're gone? I stay away. Like she asked. The words tasted like poison. But Jin knew his boss. In 15 years, he'd never seen Seung-min care about anything except duty and vengeance. Until Lily. Until Leo. There's another way, Jin said carefully. What way? The truth. 4 days later, a package arrived at Lily's door. Inside, a flash drive and a handwritten note in precise, beautiful handwriting. You deserve the truth. All of it. I'm sorry I wasn't brave enough to tell you myself. S. Her hands shook as she plugged in the drive. Files opened, documents, photos, a video. The video started. Seung-min sat alone in his office, looking directly at the camera. Vulnerable, exhausted, real. My name is Seung-min Kim. I run the largest organized crime syndicate in Seoul. I've done terrible things. I've hurt people. I'm not asking for forgiveness. I don't deserve it. But you should know why I started the Scholarship Foundation. His voice cracked. I had a daughter, Mina. She loved art. She loved life. Her mother took her from me during a custody battle, and they both died in a car accident. I never got to tell Mina I loved her one last time. The foundation was my way of keeping her alive. Every child I help, every dream I fund, it's for her. When I saw Leo's application, I saw Mina. When I met you in that restaurant, I wasn't looking for love. I'd forgotten how. But you taught me something, Lily. You taught me that walls don't keep you safe. They just keep you alone. The men who threatened you are gone. My people are watching you and Leo 24/7. You'll never see them, but you're protected. I've severed all business ties that could lead enemies to you. I'm leaving Seoul, starting over somewhere my past can't follow. I love you. I love Leo. That's why I have to let you go. Be happy. That's all I want. The video ended. Lily sat frozen, tears streaming down her face. Lily didn't think. She just grabbed her phone. Mrs. Chen, she called to her neighbor, can you watch Leo? Emergency. 20 minutes later, she burst into the lobby of Seungmin's building, a gleaming tower of steel and money. Security moved to stop her. I need to see Seungmin Kim, now. Ma'am, Mr. Kim doesn't... Tell him Lily is here. Tell him I watched the video. Something in her voice made the guard pick up the phone. 5 minutes later, the private elevator doors opened. Seungmin stepped out, and her heart shattered at the sight of him. He looked hollowed out, broken. His eyes widened when he saw her. Lily? She crossed the lobby and grabbed his perfect suit jacket in her fists. You coward, he blinked. What? You don't get to make this decision alone. You don't get to decide what's best for me and Leo without asking us. I'm protecting you. By leaving? By running? Her voice rose. You think that's what we want? You think that's what Mina would want? His face crumpled at his daughter's name. You told me you weren't a good man, Lily continued, her voice softening. But good men don't fund scholarships for children they'll never meet. Good men don't crouch down to a 7-year-old's level to talk about art. Good men don't look at a single mother and see strength instead of a burden. I'm dangerous. So am I. She pulled him closer. I'm dangerous because I'm a mother who will fight for what's mine. And you, Seungmin Kim, are mine. Lily, I don't need you to be perfect. I need you to be here, with us. Fighting with us instead of running. What if I can't keep you safe? What if you can? She touched his face, wiping away tears he didn't know he was crying. What if we're safer together than apart? He broke. Seungmin pulled her into his arms, burying his face in her hair, holding on like she was the only thing keeping him from drowning. I love you, he whispered. God, I love you. Then come home. 6 months later. Higher, Seungmin! Higher! Leo squealed with laughter as Seungmin pushed his swing at the park. Lily watched from the bench, her hand resting on her growing belly. A tiny secret they'd share with Leo tonight. Seungmin had restructured his entire organization. Gone were the violent operations. He transitioned to legitimate business, using his connections for good instead of destruction. It wasn't clean. It wasn't easy. But he was trying. And that's what mattered. Mama, look how high I am, Leo called. I see you, baby. Seungmin caught the swing and knelt down. Ready to tell him? He asked Lily quietly. She nodded, heart full. Leo, Seungmin called. Come here, we have something to tell you. The little boy ran over, breathless and happy. How do you feel, Lily asked, about being a big brother? Leo's eyes went wide. Really? 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 Seungmin confirmed, ruffling his hair. Leo threw his arms around both of them. This is the best day ever. As the sun set over the park, painting the sky in watercolors Leo would later try to capture, Seungmin looked at his family. This impossible, beautiful family, and felt something he'd thought lost forever. Peace. Lily caught his eye and smiled. The same knowing smile from that restaurant. Lifetimes ago. Your blind date didn't show up either? No, she hadn't. And thank God for that. We believe love finds you when you stop building walls and start opening doors. What did you think of Seungmin and Lily's journey? Have you ever had an unexpected connection that changed everything? Drop your story in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe for more emotional stories that prove sometimes the best love stories start with the bravest whisper.